Alright, what's going on guys? gdoggcasey here, getting ready for another Final Fantasy XIV video. This time we're going to be doing the Sunken Temple of Qarn hard mode from the tank. Let's say hello to the team. And we will be going through this as the Paladin, as usual. And this dungeon specifically has one of the most annoying bosses, in my opinion. And I am not really looking forward to getting there because it just usually turns into a shit show, but we'll see how it goes. Right away I'm realizing I'm on my wrong hotbar here. Since we're only level 50, a lot of these abilities are locked off to me, so I deal with it by just having my hotbar 4 up here set up as my level 50 and below, and then my hotbar 1 is set up as my level 60 and higher. So in case you guys are wondering on a way to deal with that, I like it a little bit better because this way at least, you know, in the level 50 dungeons and below, I can stick to my 1, 2, 3, 4 combo rather than having to spread out to these other buttons. It's just something I like to do. So yeah, the Sunken Temple of Qarn hard mode was actually one of the first ones that I ever did, if I remember right, in terms of hard mode dungeons. And overall, it's not too difficult, but there is one boss that I think provides quite the challenge, and we will be talking about that boss when we get there. For now, though, just handle all your trash pulls as you normally would. Rotate between all the enemies, make sure you're building threat on everything, dodge all the AoEs, and keep an eye on your health in case you take a little bit more damage than you expected, so you can pop off those defensive cooldowns, like convalescence and the like, but our healer's doing a great job here. And they took care of that caster over there, which is really good, meaning that I don't have to do it. If you're a particularly lazy person, like I can be sometimes, and you just don't want, you just don't want to actually move, you can rely on your DPS to take care of those guys. But you should be keeping an eye on them just to make sure that you're not losing threat, because you still want to just make sure you're generating all the threat you can. And I'm just trying to get back into the swing of things here. It's been a while since I played Final Fantasy XIV. I've sort of been taking a bit of a break from it. I might have burnt myself out a little bit when the expansion came out. I was playing like way more than I normally ever do. And then the Steam Summer Sale happened, and I've just been taking a break, just playing some other games. Did we pick up the key? I think we did, right? So, you know, it's been a little while since I've played. Alright, this room is actually interesting because I believe the mobs do take damage from the spikes. So you can actually put them in a spot like right here. I don't know why my dog is flipping out. But we want to make sure that we are not standing on the spikes, but the mobs do take damage from them. I think, anyway. For some reason right now it doesn't seem like they are, but I feel like they do. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but I'm almost positive that the mobs do take damage from the spikes. Drop down the hole, and we'll move on to the first boss. So this boss is relatively simple, and something that I just learned recently is apparently there is a mark. Yeah, see, in this case, it looks like it's the head. So you want to target the head because there's like a red dot beside it. And apparently if you break the thing that's got the red dot on it, that is what triggers the boss to fall into pieces. So I'm actually just going to lay off on the damage. I'm going to let one of them break one of the other pieces just to see. It looks like everything's taking damage anyway. Yeah, so there we go. The head broke, and so she falls into pieces. And now we just handle these adds as normal. There's some AoE going around this sphere here, so you want to make sure you're not standing in that. And it comes back to life. We look for the red, so it's on the tail, it looks like. It's either the tail or it's the right arm. Can't really tell. Who cares? she also does this whirlwind attack, which you need to make sure you get out of, because it will actually, it's like quicksand, and you will sink and take full damage. So someone's attacking the arm, and yeah, see, she didn't fall apart there, because the arm was the wrong thing to attack. We want to attack the tail. That's where the little red orb was. And there we go. So that's actually interesting. I never really knew that before, but something I learned recently. Let's get all these ads on us here. It's a little late doing that, but it wasn't too big of a deal. So she comes back and we'll find the other spot. So it's the tail again. Wait, no. The tail is the one that we want to attack. And we want to get out of these AoEs. And it's not like, you know, if the boss is about to die. The last time I was in here, I remember the boss was about to die, so I just stood in there and decided to just get as much damage out as I could. But I actually just ended up sinking and dying. So, you don't want to let that happen. You can see some of our party members are sinking. There we go. So she breaks again. We have a couple more ads to take care of. I'm just gonna hit random ones. Get them on me. And now she'll die pretty much right away. And there we go. I think this is the part where I died last time, because I just tried to eke out the extra damage, but look, it's not quite as close as you think. And there she goes. Okay. First boss down. So we'll just go on and continue on. This is the first Final Fantasy XIV video that I'm recording using my new mouse. But I say new in quotation marks because I've actually purchased this mouse before. Probably more than a year ago, maybe even approaching 2 years ago now. The mouse I'm using at the moment is called the CM Storm Mizar. I think that's how you pronounce it. It's M-I-Z-A-R. And to me, it's the best mouse that I've ever had. I'm stunned for some reason. I got hit by whatever that thing was casting. So it's got me stunned. But this mouse is actually, like, by far my most favorite mouse that I've ever had. I've been through several since then. And something that... Oh, by the way, these fights... Target the hands first, because the hand will grab someone, in this case me, and then the head will shoot an AoE at it. And the hands will respawn after a while, so just keep that in mind. But yeah, this mouse was far and away the best mouse that I've ever used, and then a year or two ago my cat chewed through the wire, which was devastating. And it's not like an overly expensive mouse, but it's more than you would want to spend willy-nilly. It's like $80 for this mouse. So what I ended up doing was using a whole bunch of substitutes in the meantime. The thing is too, I had to drive out of town like 2 hours to buy this mouse the first time. So I just never did it again. Now recently I decided to order it on Amazon. And I did that, and I've just recently got it back now. And ever since I've got it back, it's just like heaven. It's like driving an old car that you drove for like 5 years and then didn't get a chance to drive it again for several years after that. Only instead of it being an old car, you know, and kind of like a shitty thing, it's actually like a top quality car that you've missed for so long. That's the best analogy I can make to it. But some bad news is it took all but 2 or 3 days for my cat to try to chew through this wire once again. And I can actually see on my mouse nibble marks on the wire, and one part where she actually broke through like the wire part and started getting at, or I guess not the wire part, it broke through like the casing or whatever you call, you know, the surrounding area of the wires. And she broke through it and got to some of the actual wires. And if I like bend it in a weird way, the mouse actually disconnects, which is absolutely infuriating. So before, the rule was the cat is not allowed in this room when I'm not in here, so that I can like keep an eye on her. Because sometimes what'll happen is she'll get locked in here by mistake, like overnight or while I go to work. I won't know that she's like hiding in some corner, and she's in here. And when she's in here and there's no one else here and she can't get out, that's when she does her worst wire chewing. Now the rule is that she's just never allowed in here, like ever. Because she was not locked in here with the new mouse, and I don't know when she managed to chew on it, but it must have been when the door was open. So she's got some sort of affinity for this mouse, and got through the wire already. But it works fine. She didn't do lasting damage, luckily, but I guess I won't be too surprised if one day it just won't connect because of this bite through the wire. So that's really frustrating. But that's just some story filler to keep you guys entertained, I guess, while we wait to get to the next boss. Here we're fighting one of these heads again. This time he's got 2 arms, so it's, or 2 hands, I guess, so it's a little tougher. But see how long it takes him to cast that AoE anyway, and how much little health hit points these hands have? It's not a big deal. It's nothing that's going to be too tough. It's literally just a mechanic to make sure that you aren't actually just face rolling your keyboard and not paying attention to anything that's happening at all. And I think we're heading towards the second boss here in a minute. Alright. So he's dead. Or at least he will be. Oh, more hands. I think, actually, yeah, the hands die when the head dies, so you don't even have to worry about that. And up we go. Yeah, okay. So here we are at, in my opinion, one of the most annoying bosses in the entire game. And it's mostly because not everyone knows how to deal with it. So we'll just double check here. Basically, this boss is going to, we're gonna focus target as well. She's going to start counting down 100,000 needles. And if you let her finish it, the entire party just dies. So I'm gonna mark the target that we should be focusing. These secondary mobs, they can die from AoE. It's okay. Like they probably should die rather than just leave them alive, which is why I'm going to target them down myself, since I just told everybody to follow my marks. If the DPS is targeting her, yeah, there. They did enough damage to cancel out her 100,000 needles. And that's the only way to cancel it, by the way, is to do enough damage to her. It's basically like a damage check. So now we need to go back to the boss. Okay, she got canceled. So now we want to target this dude. And it's kind of confusing because there's all these little enemies that are going all over the place, and you got to try to flash and get them all on you. But I have the boss focus targeted, so I can see when she decides to start casting 1,001 or 100,000 needles again. But this thing needs to die. So 3,000 needles is not a big deal. 5,000 is a big deal. And now we can start targeting. Whoop. Start targeting her again. I just want the DPS on them. Oh, this guy. Shit, I fucked that up. This guy casts cover on the boss, and he needs to die so that we can then move back over to this boss and get enough damage into her so she can't cast that, and she cast it, and we died. So yeah. That pretty much always happens, and I'll take some responsibility for that. Basically, I'm just saying that what I was saying out loud already, the 100,000 needles can only be canceled out by pure DPS. There's no, like, you can't stun her or anything like that. But the one Guardia comes up, and he has cover, and he casts cover on her, so he needs to die before we can start doing damage to her. There is another guy who comes up who cannot be tanked. He just sort of runs around stomping on people. And he should die early as well, but her casting 100,000 needles takes priority over that. And it's hard to manage as a tank, because not only do you have to worry about all of that, but there's like 800,000 adds that jump into the fight that I need to make sure are hitting me. And it's just kind of, honestly, the biggest problem I have is targeting the boss after all is said and done. But I should just use the enemy tab over here. That'll probably make it a bit easier. Which is probably what I'll do this time. At least try to remember anyway. I hate this boss, though. I have a problem here every single time. There's always at least one wipe. Best to focus target the boss so you can see when she is casting. Make sure everyone's ready. I got one ready. That's all I need. So yeah, like we, as the tank, we can take care of these guys because they die so easily. And our DPS will be able to cancel out the cast. And now we got all these enemies that are jumping on the healer, so we gotta run up and throw out a few flashes. And yeah, I can just click here to target the boss immediately. So now this person wants to die. And luckily we were able to cancel out the... Wait, I'm not on the right thing. Okay, there we go. It's hard to talk and do this all at the same time, guys. I apologize heavily for my lack of ability here. 5,000 needles will hurt a lot. Okay. I'm going to use some defensive cooldowns here to give the healer a bit of a break. I'm going to target the boss here. And now we're looking for the Guardia who has cover, because that person needs to die right away. This thing. Okay, now get on here. Cancel the spell. There we go. We did it. Good. So I can come over here and actually deal with these guys now without worrying too much about the boss, because after that, the boss is basically done. That's the hardest part. And if everybody knows how to do it, it's not too difficult. But it's sort of hard to explain in chat, or in typing at least. And it's even harder to explain, I am learning, as you're trying to do it as a tank. So essentially, that boss will eventually cast 100,000 needles, and only damage can cancel it out. However, she makes things interesting by spawning a ton of adds, some of which need to be killed before you can even damage her. And that's where the confusion comes in. It gets easier the more you do it, but unfortunately, being like a level 50 hard mode dungeon, it's not really one that you're most likely going to find yourself running over and over again. Because there's no real reason to. You might get it as part of a roulette, and that's basically the only reason that you might run it, besides running it the first time to unlock your roulette. So yeah. It's one of those things, you know, a dungeon that you don't really do very often, containing a boss that has some mechanics that are not so easily able to figure out until you've been wiped by it a couple times. I believe that's the first time, and one of the only times. I think there might be other times in the game, but not very many, where the boss can, like, the mechanic can only be cancelled by doing extra damage. So we got some mummies here. Only 2, it looks like. Nothing to be worried about, just avoid the AoEs as normal. Use your cooldowns when they become available to you. All the same stuff. There's only so many different ways you can explain how to handle trash pulls. So, I apologize if I tend to repeat myself. We do have some mummies here as well, so I'll come over here and grab this guy. Only 1 mummy. We got 2 red mages here, both casting scatter at the same time, I think, which is why we're seeing a lot of that AoE stuff going down. I'm gonna pull large here. We're gonna make it exciting. Throw out a flash. And then I'm gonna pull this guy in. Throw out another couple flashes. We're gonna pop Convalescence and Sentinel. Both of which should easily keep us alive. And then we'll move into Circle of Scorn and everything else. Using a shield swipe from time to time when it procs. I may have missed a couple of those procs during this dungeon. I think that's mostly just because I'm out of practice. Throw out another flash here just because there's a number of enemies and just ensure that we don't lose threat. But we're doing great here. No problems handling these guys. There we go. So they open up these doors where you can get these tablets or whatever off of the pedestal, the moon sphere. And the other one will have the sun sphere, I think. Seems like it would be logical. Boom! And just like that, we are puzzle solvers. Then we click on the pedestal. And we open the door to the final boss of the dungeon. Boom. And honestly, this guy, I barely remember anything that he does. Oh, I think I remember, actually. He summons mummies that we have to avoid. That's one thing I remember he does. That's basically it, though. So we'll go through it here. So we're just opening up. We're facing the boss away from the party, which is basic fundamentals. As a tank, you should already always be doing that. because he might have a cleave. I don't know if he does have a cleave, but he might have one. It's just good practice. He spawns these coffins, I guess, on the edge of the map, and you just need to make sure that you're out of the mummy's ways. Because if you get hit by a mummy, you get a stack of Curse of the Mummy, and if you get 4, you get turned into a mummy, which is exactly what's happening to this guy here. And you're basically taken out of commission for a little while. I'm not sure if we can even get him out. He's getting himself out. So, you just want to make sure that you don't get cursed. What's he doing? So he went after that guy, and there wasn't even anything I could do about it. And he's doing it again. So he will target specific party members and try to slash them up like that. And despite how much threat you have built up, it doesn't seem to have any effect. So it's just something to keep the healers busy, I guess. Move out of the zombies here, or the mummies, whatever, same thing. We've got another party member turned into a zombie. It's not that difficult once you get the hang of it. You just have to keep your head on a swivel. Keep looking around the map. This guy's gonna get caught again. Sometimes it takes people a little longer to figure out mechanics, but when we're the tank, we are sort of the driving force of the party. So we have the ability to make sure that we can succeed despite what the rest of our party members do. The only exception being potentially the healer. He's going to get hit again. It's just not looking at all. And now he's turned into a zombie. He's a new player. He's got a sprout over his head, so, you know, there's that. But just come over here. And besides that, we're literally just doing damage and trying to kill him. We should already be in a good spot here. Let's see, is he going to be able to avoid the mummies once again? It looks like he did avoid it this time. So good job on him or her. Once again, we're already in a safe place. Could be using a limit break here. If we were a DPS, it would be our job to do that. But it looks like we're just gonna skip it. And we're just gonna focus them down without the limit break, I guess. Just because we have no melee. Ah, there it is, but it's way too late. Is it even gonna be cast? Yeah, there it is, okay. Yeah, just because we have no melee DPS, it doesn't mean the casting DPS can't use limit break there. But that's okay, we got it done, and that's going to do it for this dungeon. It's been over a week since I've recorded one of these, so just sort of getting back into the swing of things. Hopefully I did sufficiently well enough for you guys to enjoy the video. We did have that one annoying boss. Commendation to the healer. Did a good job. And we will go on and get out. Got ourselves 2 commendations, which is always good. And that's going to do it for this video. So again, I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you guys dealing with the break that I took. Sometimes, you know, like during my normal life right now, it's during the day, it's like work for 4 hours, come home, record a couple videos, go back to work for 4 hours, come back home, and then try to relax at the end of the night. Sometimes, you know, it all kind of piles on, and I need to take like a week or so to actually relax during the 4 hours in between my work splits as well, just so that I can, you know, stay sane. So every once in a while that's going to happen, but that's neither here nor there. This video is done. The next dungeon coming up is going to be the Keeper of the Lake, which is actually a brilliant dungeon, and I didn't even know that was next, and now I'm excited for next week to bring you guys that dungeon, because that's going to be a lot of fun. It's got huge story implications, but we'll try to stay away from the spoilers. It's just a really good dungeon. Alright guys, thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.